hopefully we can go to Jack Mountford.
So here's Jack. He's, those top finishes are, local. This is exactly how you want to get to nationals. You are definitely working your way up.
Yeah.
He's really happy to be here on this Prism deck. Some of that Prism bling, he had to re-sleeve it, but he's looking forward to it. And I'm really excited to see how he plays this out. His LGS is at Lion's Heart Bookshop down in Woking.
Okay.
And he plays for Value Vampires.
Nice. Not sure if we've had a few. I might have a few Value Vampires in the room. There's definitely a few of them. So nice, good job for Jack getting into top 8 here on Prism.
Showing that draft strength as well.
Yeah. And he's happy to be there, as you can see. Fantastic.
Oh, always.
Absolutely loving life.
All right.
And then we got Andrew Rayner from Thistle Tavern, actually one of the sponsors of this stream as well, showing that game shops can play. And his LGS as well, at thistletavern.com in his player profile. The Scotland tryhards. I think all of them were on this sort of list, I believe,
yes,
as well.
They were really happy about it. Those top finishes, lots of those mid-size events, 2 ProQuest wins, 2 RTN wins.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what this Riptide deck can offer us. We've seen him around before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how he does in this game.
Yeah, we saw him draft a lot of Zen in the early rounds there yesterday. But when I spoke to him about the deck very, very briefly before this, I wanted to like get into his head a little bit, because Riptide is, you know him for the traps, you know him for that identity of the hero, right? But he was telling me about that it's just a raw numbers deck.
Yeah.
You can still access Death Dealer as a ranger. We all know how good Death Dealer is, right? He's got New Horizon as well, so you can set up 2 arsenals and really make the use of that as well. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. One of the major cards I think that Riptide can access with a full suite of bolt and shots is Prismatic Leyline.
Yeah,
that is a great card which basically turns all bolt and shots into reds.
Yeah, every bolt and shot coming in for 5, threatening that reload. Even if that reload misses, Bolton or Riptide can just play another card and then go use that Riptide hero ability arsenal and then just keep it rolling as well. Absolutely. Yeah. And those traps can get... The traps in this match are very interesting. They're really bad when an angel is attacking you directly because it's an ally attack. It does not trigger damage against the defending hero. But they are absolutely phenomenal when they are defending a herald coming in from Prism. They're all going to have go again. Those go again traps are going to trigger. If there is an angel on the board, that ward 4 dies to that 1 damage ping.
Yep.
That's how you're going to sneak a lot of that value back. That Prism can really cheat out using the Halo, using some of those on hits. Because these Riptide deck, they've got the traps and they're great, but there's also a lot of 2 blocks in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So hard to block some of those big red heralds coming in for 7 while still managing some offense. The one other thing we have is that I think both of these players kind of expected that this particular... This matchup was one of the less expected matchups.
Yes.
I think they're a bit lighter on testing in this particular matchup, whereas, they both know what they're doing into Zen. They both know what they're doing into a lot of those other, heroes you'd expect. But these are both kind of rogue picks, so we'll see how it shakes out.
And when I spoke to Andrew, he said that he hadn't encountered any Prisms on his way to top 8. So this is his first encounter with the Prism at this particular tournament. So it's going to be very interesting how he navigates this. And I'm sure, Monies, this is going to be an interesting one. Monty's in the chat, sorry. This is going to be an interesting one. We're all very, very happy to be here. Top 8 of UK Nats is about to kick off today.
And here we go.
Here we go.
There are the decks. There's the fist bump. We're officially off to the races.
Absolutely. And there we go. Look, Thistle Tavern getting some product placement on the on the actual stream table as well. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Indeed.
Let's go. Let's do this.
So we are seeing Vestige of Soul coming out of Prism here. It is it's become the go-to. People have decided we don't like Empyrean Rapture anymore.
Yeah.
We really like Vestige of Soul. It plays so well with everything you want to do. It makes that Halo turn absolutely massive. It turns your Tomes of Divinity even bigger than they already were.
We saw that in the last game, actually. Just the amount of value you're getting off every single blue pitch after you've put something into your soul is just absolutely insane.
Absolutely. So Andrew looks like he's preparing to set up for that big 6-card turn. Presumably passing this action point back, see if Jack has any instant speed auras that he wants to play out.
Jackson, I think the records on the draft and the CC results were on the player profile.
Yes, so Jack was 5-1 over the course of his draft rounds, and Andrew was 4-2 over the course of his draft rounds.
Yeah.
So there we go. No instant speed aura coming out from Jack, but starting off strong with a Herald of Erudition.
Yeah.
So the question is, Do you
it's a
have the popper? You do have the popper. You do run those battering bolts.
You do indeed.
It's good in this format. It can hit figments, it can hit auras, and it can pop things as you go. So immediately, rather unfortunately, paying into those phantasmal footsteps just to get those 2 figments out of hand. It's not what you want to see in your opening hand.
Yeah. Andrew off to a great start here, establishing a 2-card arsenal with his New Horizon, coming out of a Falcon Wing for 3 with Go Again straight off the bat there.
Yeah.
And these are great chain starters. You know, couple this with Bolt and Shot and what have you. You know, they've got Go Again off the bat. You haven't used your Death Dealer yet. You haven't used your Snappies. You haven't used your Bullseye. Just great chain starters in a range deck for sure.
Absolutely, and especially coming straight out of Arsenal, you know it's going to be a 3, maybe even 4 arrow turn.
Yeah.
You do have that fantastic setup as well. And there's that prismatic ley line that we were just talking about.
So this Bolt and Shot is a red.
Yeah.
It's just converted this Bolt and Shot into a red.
It's a red +1. Even better. Red normally comes in for 4. If it's buffed up to 5, it gets all those effects.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Prismatic ley line gives it that +3 because it's a blue. So immediately,
that's what I meant.
that value.
It's essentially a red now.
Yeah. It's a red that's been turned on as well. Yeah.
So that's pretty sick.
So the reload effect, not too relevant because Riptide jumps ahead of that. And Jack now thinking, you know, Prism can do so many powerful things. One of the less powerful things that she does is start on 32 life. So you start 8 life down, and a Heat Seeker to finich.
And that's a 6 because of Prismatic. That's just
it is indeed
awesome, and it threatens the New Horizon fact that if you got something in face up, you get the additional Arsenal zone as well.
I'm not sure if he has anything else to Arsenal because if you could do all this damage and still have something else to Arsenal, I think you're definitely on the right deck. But even without the Arsenal, that on hit from Heat Seeker is absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely. Off to a good start.
Jack now thinking about, you know, the hand blocks a little bit awkwardly. How valuable is playing out that Genesis that we can see in there? Riptide does have a lot of Go Again, so, you know, but it does cost a full arrow to kill that Genesis when you're playing a Ranger.
Yes.
The question is it worth all the cards to play out? On its own, probably not. If you can pair it with some other excellent things, we'll see what.
That's why the Falcon Wings. That's why the Falcon Wings are pretty good because they're just 0 for free damage, so you can just chuck those in as well if you need to.
Absolutely.
At the auras as they're established.
Indeed.
Come on, Andrew. Yeah, a lot of Ranger aficionados in the chat. Love to see it. Ranger's definitely one of my favorites as well, for sure. Yeah. Anything with the bow and arrow.
It's the theming on it's just so good.
Oh, it really is.
And I mean, the power level of Death Dealer is also fantastic.
It really is. Yeah, we haven't even seen him activate it today. On this turn, sorry. But it looks like there's just a judge there to check over the interaction is what's coming here.
It looks like a question on an interaction here. I don't think either of these players has done anything untoward quite yet in this match. And I don't expect either of these players to do so.
Yeah.
They're both stand-up guys.
Absolutely, yeah. They're both having a great time. I think we've seen that, you know, throughout the weekend is just people just having a good time with this. What's being decided here, then?
The question here, it looks like if we're planning on blocking with the Stonewall Gauntlet and the Phantasmal Footsteps, does the minus from the Stonewall Gauntlet, because Heatseeker has additional power, layering those triggers, because Phantasmal Footsteps, if it blocks something with 6 or more power, it is destroyed. Heatseeker's coming in for 6. If Phantasmal Footsteps and the Gauntlet block at the same time, then you have 2 triggers there. You reduce the Heatseeker to 5, but is that before or after those boots get destroyed? Now, this is probably an interaction that I imagine our judge is also the first time he's seeing it.
Probably, yeah.
So we're having to go mentally right down into the details of that rule book and think, okay, we are directly layering triggers. When does this happen? When does that phantasm resolve? Sorry, not even phantasm, because technically it's not a phantasm trigger. It's its own similar wording, but a separate item.
Yeah, this is what the judges are for. We've said it multiple times on this stream. They're always at hand to help in these top 8 games.
Absolutely. So it looks like it should work, because I believe Prismatic Footsteps is at the end of the chain, but we'll see. Either way, I'm guessing it does, because, you know, otherwise you're not too thrilled. So there we go. We're covering up that nasty on-hit effect, taking those 2 cards. And I think the other 2 cards in Jack's hand are, they are those no blocks. So that Genesis does come out. Nothing to feed it with this turn, unfortunately.
This is one of those cards you just want to get off the table, right? You have to take a turn to just get rid of this, even though it's Spectra. You just want to try and get rid of it, right?
Well, you definitely have to, especially because that Genesis trigger, sure, it's nice to get a card in Soul and to get a Spectral Shield, but on this new Prism Hero ability, being able to search out that Figment and
of course.
immediately flip it over.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
Genesis is better in new Prism than it was in old Prism.
Oh, for sure.
So I think Andrew's now thinking, is there a way I can present damage before killing this Genesis?
Yeah.
You know, can I throw in something with Go Again and then kill the Genesis, or am I just killing the Genesis?
True.
Because if he is just killing the Genesis, then yeah, looks like there's no Go Again in the hand.
Okay, and that's good because Intoxicating Shot, you know, has that downside of if it hits, they get the thing. So
Yes.
using it as an arrow to fire at Genesis, I think is a good shout.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Intoxicating Shot's downside is such an interesting thing because it is
It turns on your traps, right?
Yes, it's nominally downside, but it does turn on those traps. And then it depends on the structure of your deck. If you're, you know, are you leaning super hard into those traps? Are you looking to land those hits?
Yes.
So Jack is now thinking about, you know, is there a response to this killing Genesis? Merciful is sometimes a reasonable target for that.
Okay, yeah.
But pitching that 4 may be a little bit awkward off the jump here. And, sorry, one slight correction on that Genesis. It is at the start of a turn. It's not during your action phase.
Oh,
So
right.
it will not trigger that search, but it does provide fantastic fodder for attacking with those angels.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, if you have that in from Genesis, your Halo becomes so much more threatening, so much more immediately.
You're just getting stuff into Soul to fuel
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, yeah.
So we're starting with a Herald of Ravages here from Jack. He's very happy to be able to, you know, hopefully this time swing out a 2 Herald turn and really start that ball rolling.
Okay, all right.
So we are blocking this. And interestingly enough, because Tarpet Trap is blocking something with Go Again, the next time that something hits this turn,
It's not going to.
it'll hit.
Trigger.
It just won't trigger.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Establishing a Passing Mirage instead is a nice little chain ender to get rid of the first instance of Phantasm.
and did Jack just drew a Soul Food?
Oh, really?
He did.
What does that do?
Soul Food is an action that blocks 2 that when you play it, you can put any number of cards in your hand into Soul.
Oh.
So I guess, you know, that's one way to jumpstart your Soul.
Yeah.
If Andrew's not letting any of your attacks hit and you don't want to pop that Halo, you know what?
All right.
Make it happen on your own. Play Soul Food, put 2 Heralds in there, maybe even 3, search up all those Figments, play them out, and then get ready to start going that next turn. It's a massive setup card, I think, in this setup. The question is, do you have the time and the space to play it when you're up against a Riptide who's, you know,
Throwing
really
numbers at you.
throwing 5 cards a turn at you?
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets to draw 4 cards. If you're running Death Dealer, you get to draw a 5th.
Yeah,
It's that
well,
simple.
I mean, it's interesting that he's obviously used the braces here to make sure the bolt and shot is turned on for the Go Again. So I'm not sure he has that buff in hand at the moment. But still, you can lead after this with a Death Dealer from the Tunic if you want. Load it in, draw, see what that is. You know, this is why people play Ranger, because you can just draw a card on board.
Yeah.
So drawing a card with Tunic is just a lovely feeling in general.
It really is, and especially because so many of these Riptide lists are running mostly 0 costs, right? Those 1 costs, like Heatseeker, are only in there because they're worth the card that you're pitching for it.
Yes.
But you know, if you can get a free card straight off the Death Dealer, play a 0 for 4 arrow, you're very, very happy. Especially when you draw that pump, turn that 4 into a 7.
Yeah. And as a result of this interaction here, Jack absolutely in the tank to decide what he's going to do with this.
Yeah. And again, you're worried about the on hit because, you know, how much further can this turn extend? But you're also definitely worried, you know, you're already down on 23 life.
Yeah.
You start 8 behind. Riptide has 1 good aggressive turn into you, and all of a sudden you're at half of where you think you should be at the start of any given game, right?
Yeah. And he hasn't really had the room to establish any auras. You know, the heralds that have been coming in have been fully blocked, etc. You know, the on hits have been denied if there was a follow up. It's just there was a popper at the right time. It's just going Andrew's way at the moment, but we will see. Illusionist maths time, absolutely, Ian.
All right, so Jack's decided that it's time. We need to force something going.
Yes.
Off the jump here. That's what that Halo is good for. So that Herald of Triumph goes into Soul. Prism is triggered. We've drawn a card. We have 1 resource floating. And more importantly now, Vestige is live. So if we pitch another yellow, we get to play out any aura. We have a card in Soul, so we can flip. Figment of Triumph. Here we go.
All right.
So that will reduce the attack of that Bolton shot, preventing the go again, preventing the reload. So if Andrew wants this turn to continue, he will have to use those Snapdragons or Rain Razors.
True, yeah. Yeah, because it's no longer buffed, so the go
Yeah.
again just fizzles. Yeah, that's very interesting.
And it's a very clever play from Jack. You're turning it off. The question then becomes, you get 1 Halo per game.
Yeah.
Right? That's why he was thinking so hard about it, because that is such a good effect using it for this.
He really wants to cash in and go wide on this turn and activate Death Dealer, though. Here we go. And that's why, because you're pitching a yellow into this to draw 1. This is a buff, and there it is. 8 damage coming in.
And drew exactly what was necessary. So we've,
7, sorry.
Yeah, because that Figment is still in play.
Yeah.
And there's that Tome of Divinity. All right. So this nice big combo from Jack is starting to make sense. And there's a Genesis on the follow-up as well. So we really can get this started.
Absolutely.
Now, because he's drawn all those instant speed auras, Jack now has even more decision points to be making here.
Everything's on the table for Jack now, isn't it? He's cracked off to try and prevent this from going as wide as possible and just trying to establish something in this game. He's used all of that resource already. But yeah, continuously coming in, Andrew. He wasn't lying when he said, this is a numbers game, let's go.
Absolutely. So now, we were talking about low life totals earlier.
Yeah.
With a card like this, you've got a Figment on board, you have your soul already set, you've got so many things live, your vestige is turned on.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth taking this damage? Because you can develop a couple of those auras, right? Illusionists, they care a lot less about life totals than they do about board state.
Yeah.
Is this your window to have that board state?
That's probably what he's thinking about right now. He's definitely in the tank.
He definitely is. I'm very happy I don't have to do this math and make these decisions.
That's why we're in the booth.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, so obviously if he lets this hit as well, he's got the Remorseless trigger to deal with and the Blood Rot Pox as well, so that also simulates even more damage.
Yeah, so it's realistically, 7 threatening 10, 7 threatening 11 maybe.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, pretty sick.
Oh, and we do see he has a Herald of Erudition in hand as well. He could have an absolutely great turn. So we see a Genesis, a Herald of Erudition, a Soul Shield, and an Arclight Sentinel there as well. And is that yellow Herald of Triumph, possibly?
I think so, yeah.
Something, yeah.
It's a lot of yellow on those art. It's hard to tell sometimes.
It is. But they are pitching for 3 now, so,
Oh, of course.
There's a lot of options for Jack here.
It's nice, though, because we haven't seen any of these types of interactions on the stream this weekend between Prism and Ripride, so it's great to see.
So we're committing the Herald of Triumph to the block. And then are we...
Still 4 coming through.
Yeah, we could also pitch 2 cards to Soul Shield and Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
May have been an option.
But we are taking 4. Yep.
Yep.
So he gets a Blood
Plus
Rot.
those effects are active.
Okay. So he's playing an Arclight as well at the end. Okay.
Brilliant. So he knows this is bottom 1 turn to arsenal that Soul Shield, get that defense ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then the downside, though, is it means Andrew may end up with 2 cards in arsenal at the end of this.
Yeah.
So it's a reset. Your life total is not being attacked this turn, but your opponent gets a nice chance to set up. Hopefully you find something nice on the back.
So blue Bolt and Shot going in, getting to draw a card off of Death Dealer. Tunic is still available here as well. And the Bolt and Shot just coming in, the blue Bolt and Shot. Again, using those blues to just get rid of the Spectres, get rid of the... Well, he had no choice there, but, making those right decisions.
And Andrew looks like he arsenaled that Tar Pit trap again.
Mm-hmm.
Another, not what you want to see when you're Jack. Those on-hits really do matter. And I believe there was also a collapsing trap there as well.
Oh, okay. That's one that discards a hand. They draw that many plus what?
Yeah.
-1, isn't it? Yeah. But a Tenacity coming in here for 5 with no Phantasm.
Yep. And it has Dominate.
Dominate and
which
go
is nice.
again because of Luminaris, of course.
Yeah. So does Andrew have something in the arsenal? We know he does.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
Yep.
And we also know that on-hit effect isn't actually going to be hitting here.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he... Oh, there we go. Okay. So the next on-hit effect won't be hitting either because this one's being fully blocked out. unless there's an instant speed response. There's the Genesis.
So he's going to ping him for some damage because the trap activation too.
Yep. So 2 damage coming through there. Jack does get to develop that Genesis, but again, Andrew can, just as a turn ender, poke at it. Unfortunately for Jack, those, it seems to have been a sequence of poor timing.
Yeah.
That first Herald got popped. Everything else that's been thrown, you've had those tar pit traps come up.
And again, we see the Falcon Wing, as a great chain starter. The Death Dealer hasn't been used yet. Tunic is still available. There's so many lines that are available to his Riptide right now to just keep pushing this damage. It's just insane. And yeah, again, Falcon Wing, just free damage in this game.
And
here we go.
Endless Arrow as well. Is it worth killing the Genesis? That's always the question when it comes to attacking Prisms is,
Yeah.
I've lost many a game from not attacking the Genesis when Prism was on 3 life. Is 8 close to that threshold?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Another key part of Endless Arrow is it's going to go back into his hand as well. So he's going to be, he's got an arsenal anyway, but
yeah,
just depends whether he wants to keep looping that. But yeah, Soul Shield denying the Endless Arrow to be put back into hand, and he's just going to put that into the arsenal and carry on.
And feeding that soul even more as well.
Yeah.
And Genesis is going to put a 3rd card in soul. So it's a light card. So we'll be drawing a card.
And draw.
I don't know if you make a Spectral Shield, because I believe Spectral Shield is for Illusionist, light is for draw a card.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't a light Illusionist that you put in.
And it looks like they picked it up as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
okay. So no Spectral Shield, which is unfortunate, because Spectral Shields are the one good way you can protect yourself against Riptide pings.
Yeah, that's true.
But that War-Tune Herald now is pitching for 4. Vestige is online. We are transforming that Figment.
So we are getting our first ally on the field after this 38-8 differential.
Yep.
Establishing our first ally.
We're flipping everything around through both sleeves there.
Absolutely. And which angel is this, sorry?
This is the
Victoria.
Angel of Triumph, yes.
Victoria, yeah.
So now Poppers will have -1 for this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So unless Andrew's bringing in, some real Tech 7 cards like those Blanches, you're, probably not going to be able to pop the Future Herald.
Yep.
But you may be able to pop this Angel if there is some follow-up on Herald.
And you may be able to just take the damage and carry on, as he's doing here.
When you have 38 life, it is, you certainly can.
It's great to see this deck this far into the tournament, though, right? Riptide.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, a great chain starter, starting off with a Rain Razors from Arsenal. This turn could be large. What has he got in his hand there? He's got a Premeditate, a Battering Bolt, I think.
And very well timed, that Arclight Sentinel.
Very good.
So again, Andrew will end up with an arsenal this turn. Possibly 2 if he can find another way to load an arrow, but maybe not.
But I mean, he can, because he's got a card face up, he could still establish a second arsenal.
Yes.
But then he still needs to get rid of the Arclight at the same time.
Exactly. So if he has an attack that can be played out, otherwise it's Heatseeker 1 Arsenal, and Jack, once again, will be getting value off of that Genesis and be able to swing in with at least an attack, whether that comes from an Angel or from a Herald. We're yet to be seen.
So yeah, just using that Heatseeker to get rid of the Arclight.
Yep.
And arsenaling and passing.
And more importantly, hopefully this turn, Jack is able to make a Spectral Shield and draw a card. Or he's opting to pass on the Genesis.
Okay.
Herald of Erudition is simply better. It still doesn't have Phantasm.
So 5 dominate. So he could block. Yeah.
Well, it may also just be a trap and arsenal.
It could be, yeah.
Otherwise, you could, the New Horizons is always an option. It's sad to see it go, but
yeah, it destroys your arsenal as well when you block, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
2 cards.
but he's going for it. Okay.
You're losing 1 card. Your opponent's effectively losing 2, plus a Figment, plus everything else.
It's too valuable to let hit, isn't it?
It definitely is.
And you get another card anyway because of Death Dealer.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 floating from the Battering Bolt. If this is more buffs now, this is going to come in for a massive damage. Here we go.
And it's
9.
It's tough for Prism to cover 9 sometimes. Absolutely. We do have Ward 4 on the board, though. So, 2 cards.
5.
Yeah. 2 cards that block should be able to cover this, unless that last card in hand is the 3rd Rain Razors, which would just be downright mean
Oh, go on,
at
Andrew.
this point.
Oh no, I should be unbiased in but yeah.
Oh, giving the full 9. We're definitely
okay.
valuing the Angel there.
Yeah. All the tempo is of Andrew, right?
Yeah. So this card, Light and Illusionist, going into Soul. So we will be making a Spectral Shield off this one. And hopefully drawing something not a red so that we can... Oh, no, even a red would allow a swing from the Angel.
Yeah.
Because Vestige is turned on by Genesis.
So we can see the hand who got Remorseless, Searing Shot, Lace with. So the next turn is going to be quite large.
It's going to be big, but it's going to be, -1 from Victoria's ability, because Jack did banish a card from Soul on the attack there. So it'll be one less than whatever
affects his
scary
turn
number.
too.
Yes, it did. So it's until the start of Jack's next turn.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Reading the card explains the card.
Yes, it does. And with Prism, there's so many little bits. Until whose turn?
Yeah.
Is it action phase? Is it start of turn? Is it all these little things that you really only remember if you've either played as Prism or recently played against a Prism.
Oh, here comes
so we're starting with the Premeditate.
Extensively large arrow.
All right, so we're coming in for
10.
9.
Oh, 9 because of the thing.
Yep.
Yes.
That Angel is still live.
Oh, wait. Yeah, so the Angel should...
Oh, the Angel should be live. Maybe I got the text slightly wrong. Oh, there we go. Okay, all right, there we go.
You got it. These players are on it today.
They definitely they're more on it than we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why they're at these top
glad
tables.
you agree.
Yep.
Cheers, Ian, for the support as commentating Ranger equals heaven. Absolutely. Glad you appreciate it, mate. Yeah, this is massive. This is threatening... it's still 10 because of the on-hit from Lose a Life from Searing Shot. So it's still essentially 10 plus a Ponder plus
the
a Blood Rot.
Okay, one way or another, I think Jack is covering this. He's just debating, am I covering it with cards from hand, or am I covering this with my Angel and my Spectral Shield ward value?
Yeah.
Right? You're really thinking about it, and it depends. We've seen... we know Andrew's going to be holding a Pauper next turn. Because we've seen that Battering Bolt in hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Oh, no. He pitched it, I think.
Oh, did he pitch it? Okay.
The last turn, yeah.
Oh, yes. Terribly sorry.
No, but yeah.
Oh,
this is still a big arrow.
Yeah, we're looking through. We're presumably counting up traps. We're counting up how many Paupers we think are in there. Because each one of those changes the value of sacrificing cards to keep this Angel on the board.
Yep. What a game.
Absolutely. And, at this point, you're probably not too worried about that Ponder effect, but you're definitely worried about life loss from Searing Shot and life loss from that Blood Rot Pox as well.
Yeah, just zooming in here to just see the players just smiling away as they enjoy this game for everything that it's worth. These interactions are just fantastic between these two heroes.
And it looks like there's the 9 block. We'll see. No Rain Razors again. Jack's probably relieved on that, most definitely. Genesis trigger again. We really are just keeping this fantastic train going. Jack has been able to block things out and keep developing that board, keep building up those Spectral Shields. And again, we're banishing that card because, there are those excess cards in Soul for the time being. We're a little bit away from pulling out Soraya to really cash in on those, but even then you can only do it once per turn.
Yep.
And, again, Andrew's Paupers are offline, and if he does decide to go wide, he's going to be losing a good chunk of that value from Victoria's on-attack ability.
Yeah, it's been quite relevant so far.
Yeah. At what point, if you're Andrew, do you think you go, okay, you know what? We've seen this loop happen a couple times. I need to get rid of this Genesis.
Get rid of it. Yeah, that's it.
But
this is a nice chain starter again. Premeditate into a Falcon Wing. Pretty good, threatening the Ponder as well, but hasn't activated Death Dealer yet, which means he still can put a card in there and draw a card and then potentially buff the next thing that comes, which again is another 0 cost. But we can see a Prismatic Leyline in hand there, which will allow him to activate Death Dealer, put something in, and then fire something for 1 cost without having to get rid of the Searing Shot in hand.
Definitely.
So that's pretty good.
And, I think it depends. Maybe if you draw the pump, you keep going targeting Jack directly. Yeah. And if you don't draw the pump, you go, you know what? Okay, the best thing I have is Searing Shot for 4. Probably worth killing that Genesis now.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack again doing that math on, what things we really need to avoid here. And, if you want to really gamble it, you can block with 1 card, let those Spectral Shields carry up the rest, but then you've not got that safety net for those Riptide trap pings. So we're covering a nice clean 6 there. Closing the chain after the Falcon Wing.
But we are going to pitch.
Yeah, loading up that Searing Shot, drawing a card, and the premeditate effect is still active.
True. Yep.
And it's coming in for 3.
3 on hit, lose a life, but cleanly blocked by a Herald.
No way for it to hit because there's so much ward on that board.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, Jack seems to be pretty comfortable in this loop. So long as he keeps drawing cards that block, he will be able to keep this loop, build a Spectral Shield, draw a card, swing with that Angel. Now it's very hungry for the deck. You do lose a lot of cards in that process. And I think Andrew's thinking, you know what? There's so many auras in this deck. There's so many bad, blue things that block too. There's all those terrible figments that nobody ever wants to draw.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to draw those eventually.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
when that happens, you get that Angel for free. You get those Spectral Shields for free as well.
And we haven't seen any big turn like codexes yet from Andrew either.
That is very true.
So we could also be going down that plan of codexing, rain razing, doing a lot of stuff from there. Oh, but we see a lot more stuff going on here. A bolt and shot for 6 with go again. But we haven't seen any of those cards yet. We haven't seen any codexes yet. Which again is another great card for evasiveness as well, because it strips a card from their hand. Because at the moment all we're seeing is Jack continuously blocked from hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need that evasion somewhere.
Well, I mean, against Prism, sometimes the best evasion is hope they draw those auras, hope they draw those instants that can't block. And it seems that that's what Andrew's been betting on, and it just hasn't come up in the past 3 turns.
Yeah.
And you can count and you can see those Spectral Shields. All right, we've given up that Angel now. No hit from the Bolt and Shot. We do still have that Death Dealer activation and plenty of cards in hand to make something work. E-Strike. For 4 damage, go again. With 1 card in hand. I think this might be that Codex.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd probably want to pitch for Death Dealer or something, right? Or you'd just choose buff this Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got something that is definitely playable. At least, or not an arrow and not a pump that only affects an arrow.
Yeah, I mean, and he's going for the face, isn't he? He's going for the face again here. He's not going for the auras that are continuously getting this value that we keep talking about. I think a couple of people in the chat are right. He's going for the face. We'll see what happens as a result of that. But it's an interesting one nonetheless.
Yeah. To address your question, Luminite, it is not open list. So the information that these players have is, word of mouth, what they've seen bouncing around so far. And I think the Ripride list, I think, is decently well known at the event today.
Yeah.
It was brought by multiple players, and everybody was quite happy sharing, this exciting new list. Whereas I'm not sure if Jack's Prism list is quite as public information. Yeah. Because he's come up. I think he's the only one on this exact list.
I think so.
From what I've seen, talking to him and talking to some of his mates around the day as well.
But we got the Codex, like we said.
We definitely do.
Codex, so it's going to strip a card from hand because he's got no Arsenal established.
Yep.
So that's some evasion that we're looking for there.
So there's that Searing Shot, and you know what? Herald of Erudition, you can have a really nice turn here if you do have that frailty, but we'll see what it is. In terms of how the attack works. So we're discarding that Figment. You're probably not too unhappy to discard the Figment. And again, that's 3 damage coming at Jack, not that Genesis.
Yeah, so it should be 4 damage because of the Searing Shot as well. Yeah, so it's down to 4.
So 3 damage, 1 extra life loss on top.
Yep.
Jack now gets to start his turn again. That fantastic Genesis trigger doing so much work. So that is a Merciful Retribution. A lovely Judge proxy coming out there because, illusionists love their foils.
Yep.
And unfortunately, not every foil can stay in line in that deck.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're drawing that card. It's a yellow. You're happy to see. They pitch for 3 this turn. There's that Herald of Erudition.
That's coming in for 4 because of the frailty.
Definitely. So, all those traps only block 3.
They do, yeah.
And there's a chance you hit a trap on the Ponder, at which point you're very happy. Otherwise, it'll cost you Tunic.
But there it is.
And it's cost him Tunic. And it was going to go on 3 for next turn. So that'd be a free Death Dealer. Yep. I think that's good value. It's a shame Jack didn't get to draw those cards, but I think he's happy. Look, you've got that board. I have 1 more Herald of Erudition. it's going to be making it through one way or another. And we've also seen him play Herald of Tenacity as well.
Yeah.
So something's going to be punching its way through here. An Endless Arrow coming in for 10.
That's right. If it hits
Again.
back to hand, Deadeye is not active, so it's just threatening a Blood Rot Pox, but still, yeah, essentially 12 damage.
And Jack has a really interesting play here. He has a Light of Soul and a Soul Shield. So that's 2 cards that could get a lot of great things into Soul. Unfortunate that he also has a Figment in hand, so his blocks are very, very awkward. You know, you can only draw those 4 Herald, 12 blocking hands so many times in a row.
Yeah.
But that Soul Shield is quite nice. It helps make some of those no blocks feel like 3 blocks. And that Spectral Shield, Vestige may be an option as well.
What does that block for? 1?
It blocks for 1.
Yeah.
It can, you know, that plus Soul Shield, you know, will kind of keep you alive. You may be able to have those resources for the Blood Rot at the end of turn. Jack's, I wish we knew what the last card in Jack's hand was. I can't quite see what it is. If it's a 3 block, I think you're pretty happy putting it down. But it looks like a Figment, a Soul Shield. Is that a Herald? He's too good at shuffling his hand. I can't tell.
Good. Yeah. Oh, can we see it there? Can we see it? I can't see. But yeah, nevertheless, this is a big decision.
Yeah. Normally that Light of Soul you are so happy to see because it's, you know, it can be that free Prism activation to get out. You know, do you pitch the Light of Soul to play Soul Shield, hope you hit something off the top, hope you hit a Herald off the top that goes into your soul, find Archangel of Protection, flip it, use the ward, have the Soul Shields. You can definitely survive the turn if it goes
Have you got the resources
nicely.
to do that, though?
I think you do, because you'll have the other card in hand to pitch. I think it doesn't say you up for a fantastic turn to swing back with, but you may be able to survive if you take that really weird line.
There's a lot of weird lines in this game, that's for sure.
Oh, there definitely are. And that's the Angelic Wrath.
Oh, I see. Attack react.
Yeah. So there's
That's only on Heralds.
it's not even an attack react. It's an instant that functions as an attack react.
Okay.
Which means that you are dealing 0 damage off of it. Or sorry, you are blocking 0 damage off of it. So there's the Soul Shield. There's the Light of Soul. We're hoping we hit something here. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, no, it's not, because it needs to be a yellow. It needed to specifically be a yellow Herald, because it's just a light card. It's not the Light Illusionist.
Yeah.
So skipping straight to reacts there. We just barely survived that, but that Blood Rot will be threatening lethal.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that's a pitch 3 into Blood Rot as well, right?
It definitely is.
Oh.
But
yeah.
on the upside...
Pitch 3 into Blood Rot.
Tome of Divinity.
Okay.
That's a fantastic way out of this situation.
3-6, see what he's got.
Yeah. So we know he can certainly survive this turn. We did see him draw one of those 3 cards is a blue. And again, that Genesis is also going to make a Spectral Shield. Those Spectral Shields have done so much work for Jack up to this point. And it's exactly what you want. It's an Illusionist card. It's a light card. There comes the Spectral Shield. Hopefully we draw something ideal off the top. Ooh. And it's the Figment of Erudition, which is something you always want in the deck, not out.
Just not for blocking.
But you know what? You can pitch, play a Herald, and then pitch that blue card to cover the Blood Rot at the end of the turn.
But maybe that is Andrew's game plan then. Maybe he is just trying to keep going to face to force him to block with the cards that he can block with, so that he gets those Figments that he can't block with.
And that's exactly it. As the deck thins out, you see more and more of them, right? Because they always get pitched out into the deck.
So that could be, and traps are lethal now. Absolutely, good shout, Uzi.
Well, 2 traps is lethal. 1 trap kills that Spectral Shield.
Oh yes, okay.
So very important. Another reason why those Spectral Shields are so phenomenal in this format. So again, Andrew doesn't have that reaction in Arsenal, but here we go. A card has gone to Soul. It's a shame that we can't put out that Figment of Erudition, because those extra 2 cards would go a long way this turn.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to be looking for a Figment of Protection, maybe?
It brings out a shield with it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
brings out a shield, and if you flip it, which he has the resources for, is 2 more spectral shields. If you flip an attack, which I think he may be 1 resource short on, but I'm not 100%. He may have the resources for it. I've lost track.
There's a lot going on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Great game nonetheless.
So there's that second spectral shield. So at the very least, we're surviving off Blood Rot Pox. You probably want an extra one if you can. So we're pitching 3 to cancel that.
Get rid of that, yeah.
We've still got that Figment. We've got those 2 spectral shields. We're hoping we draw a hand that blocks, and we're really, really hoping Andrew doesn't have a lot of awkward go again here, if you're Jack.
Oh, he's cracking the quiver. What is Driftwood Quiver?
Just
I can't even remember what this thing does.
Instant speed, card goes to the bottom of your deck.
Oh.
Full stop.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting. And I guess, it's insurance against bricking with, I guess some of those awkward scenarios. So here we have a Sleep Dart. That is, I think this is one of those turns.
This is Rain Razors.
It might be a Rain Razors. I was going to say this is also one of those turns where you wish you had that long draw half glove.
Oh, yeah.
He's got so many cards left in hand. If this could come in for 9, you'd be really happy.
It's not Rain Razors. Okay.
No.
All right. But that's something he has to realise as well.
Definitely.
None of those have been played. Codex has been played once. So if he's establishing a go again Arsenal card here again, it's just putting that pressure on continuously.
It is. And, so we have that Spectral Shield. So we have that bit of insurance against those traps pinging for lethal. And we also have the ability to flip over that Herald and attack with it as well, which will make another 2 Spectral Shields because we got plenty of cards in Soul. Yeah. And it's, Andrew's been playing that tempo game of I want to present 10 damage. I want to catch you with those no blocks. I want to catch you on the awkward hands. And it looks like this last turn, Andrew got caught on a little bit of those awkward hands.
So, yeah.
Being able to present 5 damage off of 4 cards is never where any Fab player wants to be. Except maybe an illusionist who's also managed to sneak out 2 auras and an angel in the meanwhile, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
So deciding on what to do now that we've seen a new card come off. So many cards in that Soul. I don't know if I've seen a Prism with this many cards in Soul since old Prism LL'd.
The Soul is bigger than the graveyard, I think. Or the Banished Zone, at least.
Light of Soul. We're hitting Tome of Divinity.
Okay.
So that has an option of going into Soul, but if it does, it's just an extra piece of fodder in there, which is fine, but there's already enough cards in there. You want to draw that Tome.
You do want to get that, yeah.
Well, sorry. You want to have that Tome available on offense. So you want to find a way to get it straight into your arsenal, either at the end of this turn or play it out this turn. You don't necessarily want to be holding it in hand when Andrew's swinging damage back at you. And now the other thing is, we've talked a lot about this board state, but these players don't have a lot of cards left. I think Jack's probably thinking about, all right, how many Heralds do I have? I don't know how many arrows Andrew has left. I think it's a good amount.
Still got codexes, though.
He does still have codexes.
Which translate to arrows. We haven't seen many of those.
That is very true.
And again, if you're not establishing arsenals, that could be the evasion that you need at the end there. But we will see. It's coming down to the wire here. And still, we haven't seen all of the traps yet, I don't think. I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know exactly how many cards each of these players has left. Yeah. But vaguely, we can just tell that, things are getting a bit thin. Every time we see Jack shuffle his deck, that Light of Soul seems to come up just a little bit sooner. So we are double unsleeving, flipping, and then playing that Angel out, which is, it's a great play to be making. That Tome did go into Soul. At that point, you're thinking like, I just don't want to draw this. There's so many non-block liabilities in this deck.
Yeah.
I'm dead to any on-hit.
Riptide needs a big Codex Murkmire, yes. Absolutely. We haven't seen Murkmire in this matchup yet either, right?
No, we have not.
That's the one that kills all wards, essentially.
Yeah.
So that could be something that, again, he's building towards here as he tries to strip those cards that block from Jack's hand. So
play for that very, very long game.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're playing for that really, really long game, surely you kill the Genesis at some point.
Yeah.
Because that Genesis, just like we talked about in the last round of Swiss, how many points of value did that Zen state make?
Exactly.
How many points of value has this Genesis made? Because it's single-handedly made shields, it's funded that Soul, it's allowed those angels to swing.
Yeah. It's just finding the room to deal with the Spectra, which slows you down at the same time. Whereas there's the Murkmire.
There we go. That's what we've been waiting towards here. So it's 10 damage. And all those spectral shields and all those angels in the world
Mean
aren't going to
nothing.
be doing much here.
Mean nothing.
So do we have that third soul shield?
They're both smiling away, though.
Yeah, there's a Celestial Cataclysm. There's a Figment in hand, so that's going to be tough. Ooh, depending on what that fourth card is, he can cover. He can technically block this all if he throws all of his armor at it and pitches his last card.
Wow. That's...
And assuming there's no Rain Razor.
Yeah. Good call on that, Jack Raven. Nice one, mate. Murkmire coming in clutch right at the very end here when he's just brung out the angel that gives you the spectral shields.
Yep, there we are. That's exactly that 10 that you need, and you're working so hard. You're hoping this isn't that other Rain Razors that we saw pitched earlier.
Oh, they're coming back round. They're coming back round
Yep.
to maybe get this one damage through here, but we will see. Decks are getting thin, them as we've discussed already. Murked by Murkmire, absolutely blasphemous. Yeah, we can see an E-strike in Andrew's hand. He's a little bit of a cue there to think, oh, is this okay? Oh, what does this mean? A naked Bolton shot. What does this mean? Is there Rain Roses there? It is.
Yeah, there surely has to be a
Codex
Rain
as
Razor.
well.
Yep, there has to be a
my
Rain
God.
Razors.
It's a shame we can't strip the card from hand for the Arsenal being established, but
there's
a lot
so
to
many
think
dangerous
about.
things you can do because now Bolton shot, Rain Razors, yep, and then it's going to be that E-strike go again, and then into that Codex. That's a lot of damage.
you can't. He's got 3 cards in hand, does he still?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he does. Because one came out of Arsenal, one came play from hand.
Oh wow. Okay then. So he's
There's
going
that
to
E-strike.
be able to Codex and then have the buff on the Rain Razor still active.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
So when you see this play pattern, you know there's no, you know this is going to be another Codex.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise it would be E-strike for 7 to try to kill all that ward.
Yeah.
So at that point you think, okay, the Murkmire is going to be coming in. I need to let the ward go now, call it a day. That way I still have those cards left to cover that Murkmire when it comes in. Or, if that is what ends up happening. But if you let this ward go, then Andrew's suddenly less incentivized to take Murkmire. Okay, maybe we grab Searing Shot instead.
Yeah.
Right? It changes the thought process for both players.
And there we see the Codex coming down at the very last minute here. This is still Rain Razor still active. This Murkmire is going to be a 6. Giving a Frailty and getting a Ponder.
Yep.
Coming in for
And there's
6.
that 6 and the no blocks there.
Wow.
Ooh, very well.
Holy hell.
A valiant fight from Jack from that low total. That
my
Genesis
God.
putting in so much work. Just those non-blocks in the deck are always going to catch up to you.
Wow. That was insane. So,
Yep.
so clearly making the right decision to leave that Genesis there and just keep up that pressure.
Well, possibly. I think there are different answers depending on how the cards come up, right? It was definitely the wrong decision for those 3 turns in a row.
Yeah.
If you're just drawing, arrows that aren't going to be punching through because they can be blocked by their heralds. But you'll see how it goes. There's an ebb and flow. Maybe if you've played this matchup 100 times, you go, okay, 60% of the time it's the right thing to kill that Genesis, 40% of the time it's the wrong thing to kill that Genesis because they do just draw those awkward no blocks.
Yep.
But, I know if I was bringing Ripride or if I was bringing Prism, I wouldn't be running 100 games of practice into this. I'd be running 100 games of practice into Zen.
Yeah.
Right? Your data lies elsewhere. So I think it was a really well played game from both players. Nice amount of back and forth.
That was amazing.
You got to see that Prism board. You got to see Ripride do exactly what Ripride wanted to do. Those early tar pit traps, that early popper doing so much work to buy that time, to buy out so many of those heralds, reduce the average blocking value of Jack's deck.
Yeah. Fantastic
Great to
game.
see.
Amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to take a short break now, and we're back to do it all over again for, I believe, the semi-final.
Yep, for top 4.
Yeah.
Stick around.
But Riptide is into top 4, baby.
Yep.
Let's go, Rangers.
It's an exciting run.
No bias. There's no bias. There is definitely bias. See you later.